Everything was so tied up to what she was feeling. The way she would move her face and eyebrows and mouth and lips and her body and her posture and everything was so... When you start understanding what she was feeling and then you watch how she moves, it all makes sense. It's like you understand why she's doing that.
How'd you get your start?
Maybe. What start?
In movies.
The audition process was quite extensive. The first time I auditioned for Andrew, he gave me the script. I had just read it and I met him and we talked about it and he actually asked me, how much time do you think you need? And I was like, well, forever. But for now, I guess I just need a couple weeks. So I did that and I showed up with a very bad blonde wig and some kind of like Marilyn makeup type of thing. And I did it. I think from my first audition to the movie getting greenlit with me was about maybe 7 months.
Diamonds are a girl's best friend. I guess I was discovered.
Andrew and I talked a lot. You know, he had been preparing this movie for over 10 years before we met. So he was so excited and so passionate. We spent months together before even started rolling. Because we had time, I was working with the dialect coach every day, several hours a day, watching her films, reading the book, just on YouTube all day long, just finding random videos of her and interviews and footage and audios and everything I could find.
Marilyn doesn't exist. When I come out of my dressing room, I'm Norma Jean.
The voice was my biggest worry, I would say, just because it's so iconic and so specific, and English is not my first language. So to begin with, that was my biggest fear. There's so many aspects in a voice. It's not just the accent. That's just one thing. The most important thing for me was to capture the essence of what that was and what was she trying to do by talking like that. Because throughout her career, you watch several movies of her and she changed her accent. She had different dialect coaches, she had coaches for movies, she had coaches for real life because she wanted to sound more sophisticated or educated or, you know. So her accent itself was all over the place. Her voice was consistent, which is very different. So it was hard. It was a hard process.
I know you're supposed to get used to it. But I just can't.
From the beginning, I knew that I just can't imitate her. If I tried to do that, I'll fail. It's just not possible. So the only way that I have to play this part is just to connect with her, to understand her background, her childhood. So for me, the work had to be focused on her emotions, her feelings. Most of the time, I was also in a situation where I felt insecure. I was scared. I felt the pressure. I felt observed, judged, or at least that's what was going on in my head. And every time when I was struggling with that, Andrew would come to me and tell me, that's it. Go with it because that is literally what she's going through. That is exactly what she's feeling. So just more. And of course, the costumes also helped a huge deal because you're in it and, you know, you're feeling it and you start finding yourself in pieces of clothing that were maybe too tight or too, you know, whatever. Whether it was her body, her physicality, and her facial expressions, because she was very expressive, and as well the voice. I couldn't separate that from her emotions.
I'm still her when the camera is rolling.
I've never been an actor that stays in character in between takes or afterwards. But in this case, I think it kind of like naturally happened just because the way we were filming, we didn't have much time to shoot this movie. And also Andrew wanted to capture something more spontaneous. So he had this thing that he actually never cut in between takes. So, you know, a lot of the moments in the film where I'm just like processing between one take and the next one, or getting my hair fixed, or my dialect coach coming in to give me a note, all of that is on film. There are moments in the movie where that happens. He dressed the crew with, you know, on period clothes. So he would have that freedom of let the camera follow me around set and let me improvise and come up with things. And if there was someone from the crew in the shot, then it would be okay because they were dressed in period clothes.
I played Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe. No! I can't face doing another scene with Marilyn Monroe.